We will not raise taxes. Every dollar taken in tax is one less dollar in the hands of a job holder or a job creator. We will not spend more than we have.
This recognizes the fiscal house that is being threatened by some serious fires, if you will, if we do not get our spending in order. We've had decades of overspending in Pennsylvania, and this has led to an unsustainable economy. So it's critical that we heed their call, heed their warning as they sound this siren, and that we take action to make sure that what we leave for our children and grandchildren is a better Pennsylvania than what we got.
We were sounding the alarm today in response to the governor's budget address. The fact is that Pennsylvania's budget is a fiscal house on fire. Expenses are expanding at a rate that's not sustainable.
We're in a situation that really has led us to a very real fiscal crisis in Pennsylvania. This is our state budget spending. It's gone up since 1970 from $4 billion in our total operating budget to over $63 billion. For a family of four, that's gone up $11,800. We can't spend more money than we bring in. We have to set our priorities and adjust our budget accordingly.
If spending is throwing gasoline on the fire, it's almost as if there's some cans of gasoline sitting in the house that's already on fire, waiting to explode as soon as the flames get nearby.
On this 4-alarm fire that we have, which we're ringing the bell for today to draw attention to this. The first alarm we have is public pensions. This is going up in the future from 2011 to 2014 at a rate of 40% each year. It's consuming more of our state budget each and every year. Our second alarm is our public welfare crisis in Pennsylvania. We have a safety net program that, I would argue, the net has been torn wide open.
When government tries to do things for people, it ends up capturing those people in a cycle of dependency. It literally hurts the people it's trying to help.
Our third alarm is public debt. From $350 million to this current year of over $1 billion.
That debt continues to grow because it's on fire.
In Pennsylvania, with combined state and local government debt, we're looking at almost $10,000 for every man, woman, and child. The fourth alarm is corrections. Pennsylvania spends about $35,000 for each prisoner we have. Our incarceration rate has climbed just dramatically. It's gone up 500% since 1980. And even with 18 new prisons in Pennsylvania, we're 13% over our capacity, over our bed capacity, as we sit here today.
So the house is on fire, and it's a 4-alarm fire. How do we respond to that emergency? It's a situation that cries out for someone to start dumping some water, spraying some foam, whatever it takes to get this fire under control. Some ways we can fireproof this economy, get the flames under control, and perhaps prevent the fire from spreading. That we've got to maintain an environment where we don't increase our taxes. Increasing taxes is going to be like throwing more gasoline on that raging fire.
Yeah, we'll never fix the problem as long as we continue to fuel it. As long as we provide the money, it'll be spent.
We've got to live within our means. Another huge step to getting these flames out is stopping this idea of creating a budget where we plan to spend more than we're planning to take in. It may be time, and I would certainly suggest it is, to pursue a constitutional amendment that would actually restrict the growth in state spending to the rate of inflation. It's fireproofing the house. It's helping to keep those flames under control.
But what we're doing now is we're crushing these opportunities in our society. This economy's not bad by accident. This economy's gotten bad because we've become this 800-pound gorilla in government, and people expect government to do everything for them. We need to prioritize the must-haves that we have in our as government providers here, taking care of the people's tax dollars and financial obligations, and then the other things that we're not required to do with government dollars, taking a real hard look at those to see if we should do them at all.
And it's a question of looking for results when the government spends dollars. What kind of bang for the buck do you get with that last dollar you spend in any given area? Some ways we can dampen that fire, some ways to throw some water on that would be looking at increased competition.
There are things that we're spending that are just totally unnecessary. We have areas of government that we should have privatized decades ago. But we can't take public resources and compete against the private sector when often the private sector can do it cheaper and better than the government.
And sometimes we even do that by law. We require the government to spend more money than necessary on such things as public projects that are built under the prevailing wage laws. Because these prevailing wage laws say you've got to pay a higher than market rate wage to the workers on the projects when they would gladly do those projects for, especially in this economic environment, for the going rate. But instead, we're penalizing our taxpayers and forcing them to pay, again, anywhere from 10 to 30% more than necessary, getting less bang for the buck instead of more.
Well, Pennsylvania desperately needs statesmen. We've got enough politicians. We need men and women who are willing to stand on principle, point to the problems, and embrace solutions that may not be politically popular, but are critical for us to move forward here in Pennsylvania. I applaud Senator Eichelberger and Representative Bloom for sounding the alarm and letting Pennsylvanians know that, well, something must be done unless we are willing to let our fiscal house burn down.
The best way to help yourselves is to get government out of the way, unleash the power of the private sector, and allow this society to do what it does tremendously well, which is lift people from poverty by giving them opportunities to succeed that they can't find anywhere else in the world.
So if we can get folks back home engaged in the process, making the phone calls, standing up to elected officials, communicating to them that we understand this picture, and it's a big picture, and we don't like what we see, and it's only going to get worse if we don't stop it right now, then we're going to win. And we can win this battle, but it's going to take all of us getting involved in the process to do it.
This fiscal fire that's burning out of control, it didn't just start 8 years ago. It started as early as the late 60s, 1970, around that time. And it's been burning and growing and getting bigger and stronger. Flames are getting hotter through Republican administrations and through Democratic administrations. And so it's a problem with a big government mindset that cuts across party lines.
Well, this conversation, of course, has to take place at every level of government, not just in Harrisburg, but in Washington. Politicians have unfortunately put us into a situation that is unsustainable. And until we get our fiscal house in order, we're not going to be able to have the kind of prosperity that America has enjoyed for so long and can experience going forward.